Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with my man Martin. Feeling a little bit more cheerful after the games this across this weekend, particularly after the game that's just been played. Martin, how are you doing? Especially after
Good.
after a disappointing result.
Yeah, bit let down. Thought the tempo was a bit slow enough, but I'm a bit more cheerful now after seeing Everton just smacking Brighton. I just couldn't believe. I didn't know where that came from at all.
Yeah, and we also forgot you must be very chirpy about your new equipment there, rocking a new podcast microphone, looking like it's multicolored as well. Look at that.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a light to it and all. I didn't even know that. It's deadly, and it's gone with the Aston Villa retro kit and everything. It's class. I'm having
Exactly,
a
mate.
buzz here, lads.
Exactly. Look, it's these, it's the subscribers. You see, we're nearly at 1,400 guys. We're nearly there. We lost a couple over the last couple of days. I don't know if it was because people were getting a bit anxious about the content. We obviously did a preview on Thursday, but we had a couple of days off. But yeah, please do hit that like button, guys, and do hit that subscribe button. We're literally 5 subscribers away from 1,400, so I'm going to keep my eye out today. But please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you want to join the channel and become a member, I've pinned the comment. I've pinned it into the chat. So click that link and jump across, and you can join the channel as a member. Duncan is in the house. Evening, Duncan. Great to have you on board. Tottenham is now the crunch match. Yes, we obviously are going to
Mm.
do a preview later on this week, but we are going to cover the run in. We've got to cover it because, it's twists and turns all over the place. Good evening, Michael. Hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining us tonight. But we have to cover the game first, the Wolves game. Obviously, Wolves won, Aston Villa nil. We were slightly, what's the word? We were cautiously optimistic going into the game, Martin. Me, myself, you, and George on Thursday night, but I think deep down we knew it was a tough game. We'd never do well at Wolves, and when you can see the goal, after 9 minutes, Wolves being as they are, very defensive and very solid, it was always going to be a tough ask to get back into the game.
Yeah, exactly. Wolves seems a bit of a bogey team, always have been, and I just think that they're probably living on a high. I'm seeing all over the Wolves Twitter that Aston Villa have had their best season in years and they still couldn't beat us. What, did they want a trophy for that or something? Like,
Yeah,
it's they've probably had their best years and still, what are you getting out of it? Like, you're not getting anything out of it. We're still going to finish above them. So have your bragging rights by all means and beating us in the games, but we're still going to finish above them in the table. So I have no issues. But the game itself, yeah, I was very cautious. I was watching it, and when the goal went in, I was like, "That's a free header." Yeah, that's something that you know we've been lacking at times. That's defending at set pieces. But I just felt, we probably could have nicked the point. I felt we probably deserved the point, but with Wolves, are so good defensively, nearly having 9, 10 men behind the ball. So it was always going to be a hard ask.
yeah, exactly, mate. I think you summed it up really well there because, yeah, free header in the box off a set piece. That's the last thing you want to do against a team like Wolves. I think Ramsey lost his man a little bit, um, and obviously you've got Mings free to kind of win the ball, and he just kind of got caught underneath it a little bit. I felt,
Mm.
but it's one of those. And yeah, I think we did respond well in that first half, in particularly, and players like Buendia had a good chance. I think Watkins had a good headed chance, and we looked threatening. And I think we played better in that first half than we did all of the game against Man United, but we just couldn't get that final ball. Um, and yeah, they just got blocks onto a lot of things. And once you've got that lead, it's very difficult to. We've seen in the Premier League, it doesn't matter who's playing or who you're playing. If you get that 1-0 lead, it's very difficult for the opposition to get back into the game, isn't it?
Absolutely, and especially a defensive team against something like a team like Wolves. When they go 1-0 up, they tend to hold on to that lead, or they might grab a second. I think they've got like 6 1-0 wins since Lopetegui's come in, so it goes to show that when they go 1-0 up, they're very good at keeping their leads. So, that's why they've climbed the table and pretty much guaranteed their safety, which all the fans were celebrating. And, you know, like for Wolves, every time they come 1-0 up and they're able to keep that lead, and it's just like really disappointing. For us, it's disappointing because we had plenty of chances to try and get back into it. Jose Sa with a good save. Watkins, the header straight at him. And on any other day of the week, that probably would have went in.
Yeah,
Or Sam say another day in a month or something like, But uh, no, the game itself I felt was disappointing. We could have got a point away. I would have been happy with a point. But like I said, after
100%.
seeing on
Especially after the
the
results.
performances of their
Yeah,
life,
yeah,
and all of
yeah.
a sudden Villa fans are optimistic again.
No, exactly. But that takes that point. If we'd have got that point, then that makes it even, that makes it even more important.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean, Rachel said there, fair play to Wolves. They scored and went 10 behind the ball, did what they had to do to win and stay in the league. Congrats to them for that. Exactly. And Michael said it was a game of missed chances. And
yeah.
I did want to cover this with you because, and I will talk to Gareth about it on our Talking Tactics show, which I'm sure will be either out tomorrow or Wednesday. You got a lot to cover on that. But when we talk about kind of XG and whatever the rights and wrongs of XG are, but the
Mm.
facts are our XG was really high in the game against Wolves, or higher than it was again, in previous games that we've actually won. But do you think that we don't take enough shots? What I mean by that is we're trying to engineer like a really good chance. But really, if you look at it, Buendia had the shot from outside the area, and that was
Mm.
brought a great save from the keeper. But apart from that, like I don't see McGinn having many shots. I don't see Louise having many shots. I don't see Ramsey having many shots. I don't see Buendia having too many shots. And like you saw the goal that Ben Rama scored for West Ham, where De Gea makes a terrible mistake, just takes a shot early. I would just like us for more midfielders to take more shots because if they get it on target, then the keeper pushes it out, or we get a corner, or we add more pressure to that team, create forward momentum. But I just feel like we don't. Those midfielders don't shoot enough, so it's no wonder that they only get 3 or 4 goals a season.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of felt that in the Wolves game. All right, McGinn got the ball in some good positions, and I thought he would have smacked it into the top corner, or like you said, forced the corner. And that's really is frustrating because you hear some of the fans go shoo, but then all of a sudden he makes a pass out to left back or right back, and you're going, you could have had a decent chance there, and
Mm.
all of a sudden, it's same for Wendy, same for Ramsey, same for Louise. I think the only long range shot I think Louise takes since Emery's come in was the one against Brentford, and he put it just wide, and that was like in the last minute. And I was kind of saying, imagine if he scored that,
Yeah, yeah,
So, and then when he took a shot from outside the box, and he forced a save off the keeper, so I was kind of like, well, this should have been an incentive that there's probably going to be shots from range, and players like Buendia, Ramsey, Louise, and McGinn are more than capable of doing that. So I don't know why they didn't do it, unless it was just a game plan to try and get the ball in behind against Wolves. But it was never going to happen with how defensively good they are. They keep a good structure, and they don't let teams pass them. Very hard to break them down. And I just felt that there should have been more shots from range to try and get yourself back into the game, but ultimately it didn't happen.
yeah, exactly. And I think if you're trying to engineer that opportunity, like Moreno was frustrated. He couldn't get down the side of Semedo. Obviously, Traore was frustrated in the first half.
Mm.
I've got to say Leon Bailey in a Jamaican accent for Hitsbury bastard, because he says that every time we say a Spanish name, they always say it in like they always roll their R's and stuff. So, but he says like Jamaican names, they don't say Leon Bailey. So I've got to do it. But yeah, Leon Bailey
Leon
didn't.
Bale, Leon
yeah,
Bale.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, he couldn't get couldn't get down the sides either too often. So you think, okay, if we can't do that and we can't get through them, the best bet is the space is in front of them. So have long range shots. We've got good players who can strike a ball. Like I really don't understand it, and I don't know whether that comes from the manager, or he wants us to keep playing a certain way and create a better chance. But I think at some points you've got to kind of take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and and react as the game's going on. And I just felt that obviously we had that great chance with Tyrone Mings off a set piece, but and I think Ashley Young had a shot that just went wide. But other than that, we just didn't. Those attacking midfield players need to be striking the ball more. Like, was it against Chelsea? McGinn scored from 25 yards. And that's really the only goal I can remember that we scored from quite far out in recent times.
Yeah, and the Lucas Junior free kick, admittedly, was a free kick, but still, that was a bit of a shot from range. Yeah, they're the only two that come to my mind. Everything else kind of been like inside the box or like a really good finish, like probably just on the edge of the box or something.
I tell a lie. Traore against Leicester.
Yes,
that was just
yes,
a
sorry,
snapshot, one touch finish. But yeah, I mean,
just issue a quick reaction,
yeah. Duncan says there, one thing we've lost is goals from midfield. That was our strength before. Something Emery will rectify in the summer. If Watkins doesn't score, we don't win at the moment, and that's true. That's massively true. I mean, other than like Mings against Fulham, but that was just a game again where we got the goal and we just shut up shop. We create good chances, says Michael, but converting them is the problem for me. But you're right, we do need to shoot more. If anyone's in, the Forest game is still 0-0.
I want to see Forest win that.
Rachel said, "Is it confidence, or if they miss, so we lose possession and we have to start again? If we have the ball, they can't hurt us." Yeah, but I guess it's just the fact that we were already 1-0 down, so you kind of, we could have got back instantly into the game when Buendia had that shot. But other than that, I can't really remember any real prolonged pressure that we put onto Wolves, and that was the disappointing thing. And then Michael said, if we're doing Jamaican accents, we need to get T1 on. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because my attempt was horrible.
I guess for me, obviously, a lot of the conversation has been around our more creative players. Again, Emi Buendia, Jacob Ramsey. For me, I don't necessarily blame those two that much, but I think playing against Wolves, what was really highlighted to me was the fact that we lost a lot of physical battles in that midfield. And I don't quite know why Dendoncker didn't start in this game, because for me, this was a perfect game for a Dendoncker. We saw how well he played against Newcastle, another very physical side.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were your thoughts on the midfield battle?
I always feel like, apart from that Newcastle game where Dendoncker was really well, with physical battle, that's someone that you needed in there, that when we're against a physical team, we tend to hide. Which, that's something that you can't do in the Premier League, because if you hide from a physical team, you're going to get punished because of the lads that are probably a bit more flexible for the forward in those teams. And, and I thought, you're right, that game was perfect for Dendoncker. And I just don't know why he didn't even... Did he even come on? I don't think he even came on, did he?
No, he didn't come on. No, he didn't come on at all.
So it was a weird one. But funny enough, when Kamara came on, I thought we were a bit more physical in that midfield, even if he was only on for about 10, 15 minutes. And we looked a bit more physical, looked a bit more lively. But by that stage, it's too late.
Exactly, mate. I was just about to say the same.
That stage is too late. You're chasing the game. That's not when you want to be physical. That's if you want. I'm a firm believer that Kamara should not have started that game anyway, because of the Chelsea situation, that he was injured too quickly. So it was right to bring him on. But I felt if you're going to make a change, you would have done it earlier. That's the only thing I have.
Yeah, it's just one of those where we're looking at a Buendia and a Ramsey who like to get the ball in the areas in the attacking third on the half turn and run. But the problem is if you're not physical enough in midfield, you
get bullied.
Yeah, you get bullied, and they have to come deeper and deeper to get the ball. So then they just end up getting pushed off the ball from a Lemina or from whoever else. Who I thought Lemina had an excellent game, to be honest, and a Neves. And they just get more and more frustrated, and they get more and more further away from Watkins. Whereas, as I say, if Dendoncker had been in there, maybe you sacrifice a Traore, keep McGinn out on that left-hand side, Dendoncker, Louise, and then you've got your two further forward. Dendoncker just is a bit of a disruptor, gives the ball to Louise, and then we're away.
That's it.
Yes,
and I felt in that I felt in that game as well that our right side of ours, we just got no joy. Like Traore and Bailey were just shocking. Like
Mm.
they're just not up to the standard, I don't think. And I know Traore had a good bit of stint of form with 2 goals in 2 games, stroke of luck, but it doesn't matter how you get them as long as you get them. But at the same time, I just think the two of them are just not up for the standard of the Premier League, which is why it's always been hinted that Emery wants a wide midfielder, especially on that right side.
Mm. 100%, mate. I totally agree. Few comments coming in. Deco's in the house says, "Yes, sorry I'm late. Been teaching all night. Not a problem, mate. Up the Villa. Good man for jumping on the show.
I hope
Don't."
he's teaching the West Brom fans a lesson on how to come back up to the Premier League.
Yeah, good job for Sunderland and Coventry today, getting in the playoffs. So
Yeah,
yeah, really good job for them. Agreed.
and it's
Donks
Middlesbrough and Luton are the other
starting
teams, aren't they?
Middlesbrough and Luton. Yeah, so Luton
Yeah.
play Sunderland and Middlesbrough play Coventry. So
Hmm.
yeah, really good. Yeah, wanted to cover this as well. Rachel says, "Can I say Diego Carlos coming back was such a positive, and his passing range was a blessing." Yeah, and Deco agrees. Good to see Diego back, and Michael agrees as well. I mean, that was a little bit of a surprise, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That he came on, because especially like what was it, 15, 20 minutes to go. But yeah, I mean, yeah, very surprising the fact that he hasn't been used at all for the whole of the time he's been back, and then all of a sudden
Hmm.
he's stripped off to come on. You know, the first substitution of the second half. You know, obviously I know he made a change at half time, but yeah, very pleasant surprise and played very well when he came on.
Well, I think Emery probably didn't want to risk him because the Achilles injury to come back from that takes a lot of work, and the last thing you want is like a 99%, because it just takes that 1% chance for that Achilles to go again or another
Mm.
little niggly injury. So obviously he's waited and he's been patient. And when he came on, it was fantastic. And I also felt that Cons had done really well at right back
He did actually.
because
Yeah, he did.
because it was the first thing he done when he got the ball outside of foot job through the lines, bang into Luis. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and
And
there was the one where he ran up the
Carlos,
line as well, where he just kept
yeah,
going. I mean, the only
that's
thing he
it.
doesn't do, he doesn't cross it very well. But yeah, I was, as I say, but I mean, one of the crossfield passes that Carlos put into, I think whoever was out on that left hand side, Moreno, was fantastic.
Oh, like, and I think we were missing that for a while. But at the same time, Cons and Mings have been incredible. So, but when Carlos came back, because I seen him that Emery was talking to him, I was like, "Oh, is Carlos coming on?" Because I
Yeah,
just
mate,
wasn't
I know.
expecting
Yeah,
it.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Because I was there going, "What the?" Sorry for my language.
yeah,
I'm not going to say
yeah,
it, but I was like, "What the hell? Like, what's going
yeah,
on here?" And then he
yeah.
comes on, and I was thinking, right, Cons will probably go right back. That was my first thought because I didn't think he was going to take Cons or Mings off. But then obviously Cons went right back, and I thought we were a little bit more structured and more solid with Cons at right back and Carlos Mings and Moreno. I thought we were very good,
Yeah, well,
but ultimately it wasn't to be.
Neto was targeting Young, wasn't he? And I
Mm,
think, like you said, we couldn't get anything going down that right hand side because they were really pressing Ashley Young, and it was quite tough to watch, to be honest.
yeah.
And especially the way that we want to play with that possession game. If the ball goes out to him and he's shut right down, it's really difficult. But yeah, I mean, as I say, it was great to see Carlos come on. There's one or two positives. It was always going to be a tough game against Wolves, like I say. And, like teams like Man United, they've just beat us 1-0 and they've just lost 2 games 1-0 in a row. We've just lost a couple of games 1-0 in a row. And
Mm,
the form's still good. Maybe that's a little blip. Maybe that's a little wake up call. We've got players coming back from injury. Um, we'll maybe get on with it, but I'll go through a couple of
mm,
comments because I do want to cover a few statistics, and then we'll get into kind of what the results mean for us moving forwards.
yeah.
Sean is joining us. Sean KMG says, "Great show, lads. Thank you very much, mate. It's much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and drop us a like." Forest are 1-0 up. They are now 2-0 up. I've just seen on the screen behind me. Forest are 2-0 up.
Get in there, Forest.
Deco saying, I think that's a nail in Southampton's coffin if it stays like that.
Mm,
And then, Duncan said, Forest to stay up, Leicester look gone. Yeah, bad result for them today. We learn more from mistakes and defeats. It shows the weaknesses in the squad, tactics, etc., and where we need to improve. Lots of positives to take, says Rachel. I absolutely agree. Michael said all those players have been given a fair chance by Emery, and I'm confident that he knows what we need in the summer. 100%, mate.
Good comment.
Duncan said, true, these defeats are showing Emery what actually needed in the summer.
Yeah.
And then Michael saying 2-0 to Forest. Yeah. Rachel saying we haven't conceded lots of goals, which is good as well. Exactly. It's what the odd goal. Weston said that's our blip after going on a good run. 7 points incoming from our next 3 games. Let's be positive, mate. Yeah. But I did want to show you the stats. So just while I'm sharing my screen, just a quick reminder, guys, hit that like button. We've got the good numbers watching, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And if you do want to join the channel for just £1.99 a month, less a third of a cost of a pint, then click the link at the top. It's pinned in the chat. And you can follow the instructions to become a member of the channel and a true Villa Park Pod follower. So, looking at the stats, Martin, I mean, 62% possession, more shots on target, 16 shots, more touches, more passes. Obviously, they had more tackles. They had way more clearances. We had more corners. They conceded more fouls. I mean, as I said
I'm looking
before,
at a FIFA game. That's all I'm looking at, a FIFA game.
Yeah, looking at that, obviously we did the stats against Man United, and it wasn't great. Looking at that, like if you play like that in most matches, would it be fair to say you win most matches?
Yeah, you would. If that was like our stats for like an entire season, you'd be winning a hell of a lot more games, and you would have 2, 3, 4, 5 games where it probably just didn't go your way like this one. But looking at them stats, I'm sorry, I'm comparing it to FIFA like 23. You're all over an opponent, all over on me, and he goes to win 1-0 and he doesn't let you live it down for the rest of his life.
Exactly. It's, I don't know, it was just a funny game, and as I say, it's one of those local derby, if you want to call it that. Massive game for them. I didn't think they were great. I thought they had 1 or 2 good performances. As I said, Lamina was good. I thought Neto was quite threatening. I actually thought Diego Carlos was pretty good, to be fair. He
was fairly physical. He gave Mings a good run for his money.
Yeah, and Dawson at the back was very good. And Michael sums it up. He said we didn't take our chances. Looking at the stats, absolutely. Like, I mean, that Mings chance. That Mings chance. How does he not put that away?
I know what. I agree with Sam. Of all people for that to falter, like I don't know how he didn't have the instinct to just header it over Sa.
Yeah.
But unless it just
or
kind
just
of felt
not hit it
that
so hard, just not hit it, just guide it into the corner.
That's it. But he's not a striker. It's not that striker's instinct. So if that was an Ollie Watkins, that's a goal. If that's a Buendia, that's a goal. Because you know what he's like in the air. He's class.
Yeah.
So if all the people for that to fault, I agree with Sam. For all the people for that to fault, it had to be Tyrone Mings.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. Well, look, we dusted it off. We've said there a couple of people. Oh, 2-1. We've said there. A couple of people have said, we dust off and we go on to the next game. Now, obviously, what's transpired is 1 or 2 results. I mean, Liverpool look like they are, on form. Brighton obviously had a good result against United, but got absolutely tanked tonight, 5-1. This is Monday night that we're doing the show.
Yeah.
So I think it just goes to show that, look, we always assume, obviously we do our running shows, we do our kind of how many points are we going to get, all that sort of stuff. And we always assume that, all these teams are going to win these games and these teams are going to win these games. But, look, when teams are at the bottom and they've got some things to fight for, funny results happen. And particularly with a team like Brighton, who have still got, 6 games.
I think you've got 5 games left now. 5.
Yeah, they got, games catch up with you. Games catch up with you, and we were assuming that they would win all these games. They beat Everton and then they beat so and so, and then beat so and so. But it's not quite going to be as simple as that, is it?
No, and I've been saying this for ages in our group chat. They still have the top 3 to play. they've still got Man City, they've still got Arsenal, and they've still got Newcastle. Now, admittedly, I know we bet Newcastle, but at the same time, Newcastle are flying. They probably should have bet Arsenal. It was just a stroke of unfortune for them, with hitting the post twice, a great save from Ramsdale. Any other day, that's 3 goals for them. But
Mm.
they've still got Newcastle, Arsenal, Brighton. I think they've got. Oh, sorry, Man City. I think they've got Forest and Leeds in there as well.
I'll get their fixtures up now.
Yeah,
Um,
because I think they have 2 teams down the bottom as well, and a lot of teams there in the bottom be thinking, right, if we play
so
like Everton
yeah,
did, they'll catch them on the counter. That's exactly what Everton did. They caught them on the counter like 4 or 5 times, and bang, goals straight away. So
yeah.
like that was
It,
just
it showed
mental.
it showed me as well today that Brighton, obviously how we beat them, they do a lot of their attacking down the right flank and left flank, but
Mm,
they're still quite weak through that middle. I know Evan Ferguson's a great player, but he's 18. You come up against a Yerry Mina tonight or someone like that, you're gonna get it's you're coming against big time centre backs. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, they've got Arsenal away,
yeah.
Newcastle away, Southampton at home, as you said, Man City at home, and then they've got Villa away.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So
sorry, they still have us on the last day. Don't know why I forgot that. So like that's not an easy running for them. It's not. Like that's top 3 teams. You say Southampton, was it?
yeah, so they've got
Yeah,
Arsenal and Southampton both away. Sorry, Arsenal and Newcastle both away from home.
yeah,
So look, again, we're getting into predicting results here, but we know Arsenal's not away is not going to be an easy game. Arsenal's still chasing the title. Newcastle away. Newcastle want to cement a Champions League spot. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Then so let's say the worst happens for Brighton. They're then going into a Southampton game. Southampton, let's face it, will probably be down. But look, it's a fairly local derby, whatever. Let's say they win that. Then they've got Man City at home. Would you suggest that Man City have won the league by then? I doubt it. Man City might have to win to settle the league,
I
and then
think
they've
Man
got
City will
us.
win the league by then because you have to remember, this is Man City in April and May. They don't lose games. They keep winning and winning and winning.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
clockwork for them. It's just
yeah,
going and going and going. And they have a game in hand. And
yeah,
that game in hand is Brighton. And if they win that, that's the league wrapped up.
yeah. And then not forgetting, obviously Liverpool are on a very good run at the moment.
Mm,
But even saying that, like I say, teams, it's not as easy as you make out. Leicester have had a terrible result today. Would it be out of the ordinary for Leicester on Monday night at home to get a result against Liverpool, right? And then they've got us,
mm.
yeah. It's and then they've got Southampton, but is it like I say, we're expecting when we do these run-ins, obviously we said, oh, they win this or they lose this, but we expect these teams to win every game, or we say, oh, they'll play them, they're on good form, they'll beat them. Just doesn't
Mm.
always happen like that.
No, and I remember when we were doing our run in that you and Kevin had like, oh, they're gonna win. And I had a few shock results in there simply because they do happen. They tend to happen. But never in my wildest dream that I think everything were gonna be Brighton.
No, no,
But
no. I'd just say I couldn't stretch to that one, but look, I'm going to
no,
rewatch it and see what happened, see what we said in that, and see how close we
yeah.
are.
I'm
Um,
going to do the same myself, rewatch it and see what happens. But at the same time, I look at Liverpool's run in, Leicester. This would be a typical game for Liverpool to draw or lose because they've been beating the big teams. They're having a Robin Hood season. They beat the big teams and they lose to the small ones. It's a Robin Hood season for them for some reason, and they're playing catch up. And then they'll have us, and they won't treat us lightly, not in the
mm,
slightest, because they know if they lose to Leicester and if we beat them, they're in big trouble. So they won't take us lightly either. So
exactly.
this is it's going to be a very very tasty run in to
It's
wherever
massive.
wherever
It's
the teams
absolutely
are.
massive. Yeah, it's great to be in it as well. It is so good to be in it. This is what you want
That's it.
as a player. Deco, just referencing the Wolves game again. Low block is always hard. They got a goal and decided that's all they were capable of. A shut up shop, 100%.
Yeah.
Nick, who's joining us, says, considering how Ollie's form has nosedived after the birth of both his children, should he now be banned from you know what, until late September. So his next charge is a closed season baby. I think so, mate. Yeah, I think so. Um, Willie Moyes, evening guys, great show as usual. Thank you, mate. Disappointing result, but if we miss out on Europe, would it still be a bad season or a good season? Let's we'll get involved in the chat on that, guys. Get involved in the chat on that. Let us know your thoughts. I'll come to you later on that. Deco said, "Do you think Villa medical team could stretch to perform in vasectomies?" No, we don't want to advocate for that. We don't want to advocate for that. Michael said, "In the words of the great man, so it's still all to play for. Do you want to bet against us?" Exactly.
Fair play.
Rachel
Good one.
said, "For me, a good season, even if we don't get Europe, I expect the worst and hope for the best at this stage." Yeah. Michael sums it up. So that's why I always say we should focus on the next game. And then Gary says, "Hi guys, Brighton only have to beat Southampton if we don't win at least 2 and maybe a draw against us." Yeah, look, it's still all on us. As Michael said, this game on Saturday is massive. We have to beat Tottenham because they're currently 3 points ahead of us. We beat them. Obviously, I think we go above them on goal difference.
It depends how many we win by, though, I think.
Yeah. It's a massive game. And that's in our hands. It's still kind of in our hands because we play all the teams around us. Everton have just shown how to cause Brighton trouble. But guys, we are totally spent, don't you think? Now, again, good question on that. Another week off. Players coming back, Kamara a full week in training. Matty Cash was obviously not fully fit for the game, but he'll have another full week in training. Coutinho was on the bench, another full week in training for him. Leon Bailey, another full week in training for him, albeit obviously he came on and wasn't great. But look, having those 4 players back, it's got to be a big impact for Villa moving forward for these last 3 games.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to have that healthy competition back. And if it were me next week, I'd be putting in Boubacar Kamara because we just need that physicality.
100%.
Sorry, this week. We just need that physicality back, and that's something that we miss because we were winning for so many weeks and whatever. We probably didn't notice that because we were playing such good football. But when our last 2 games against Man United and Wolves, who tend to be physical sides, we went hiding. So that's where you miss a Kamara and you miss that little bit of bitterness in the midfield. So against Tottenham, regardless of how bad they've been and whatever, they're still a physical side, and it's a perfect game for Kamara to come into.
Yeah, exactly. I think a few people agreeing with us here. Agree with Michael. We can only focus on ourselves. Yeah, and Michael, from changes week by week, week by week at this stage of the season. Yeah. Just strange results. There's either 1-0s or there's like crazy games like Fulham today against Leicester or Brighton, Everton today against Brighton. There's so many crazy games at this stage of the season. Deco said we've got players coming back, as we've just said there, still all to play for despite making it harder for ourselves. Gary, I'm far more excited about who we sign rather than the Conference League. We're going to get onto transfer rumours in a bit, but I think, look, let's go for both, man. Let's go for both. It'd be fantastic. Adam says, I don't think we've shown enough from the last 4 games to give us that much confidence for the last 3 to play. As Michael said before, form changes week to week, and I think, fair enough. We probably could have got a point there against Wolves, but beat Fulham, drew with Brentford, battling point against Brentford, and then, maybe we could have gone for it a bit more against United. But I think I've just got a funny feeling that, look, much like Newcastle had that wake up call against us, they've probably then had another wake up call against Arsenal. I just feel like we'll turn it into a positive. And come out fighting against Tottenham.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Tottenham, they're a bit of a mixture at the moment. When they're down, and but when they're up, they're up. But there's just no in between with Tottenham.
What about when they're halfway up?
When are Tottenham ever halfway?
They're neither up nor down.
Yeah, they're either up or down. There's no in between with Tottenham. It's Tottenham.
Bit like Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, and then Harry Kane had a great fall. And so, when they went 3-0 down against Liverpool, brought it back to 3-3. A minute later, they go and score. Liverpool.
Mm,
And Gary Neville summed it perfectly. This is the most Tottenham thing you'll ever see in your life. And
yeah,
that's what it is with Tottenham. There's just no in between with them. They either
yeah,
lose
yeah,
or they win.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
It's
it's
been a bit
mental.
like us this season, to be honest. We've only drawn 6 games, so it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a really interesting one. Michael says there Villa fans have a massive part to play on Saturday. I absolutely
Yeah.
agree. Nick's asking if Cash is back at the weekend. I mean, he was in the stands at the last press conference that said he trained on Wednesday, I think. I don't know whether he's had a setback or whether he just wasn't quite ready, but we'll obviously see the pictures in training tomorrow and the rest of the days and see if he's coming through. Definitely, Adam said definitely worried. Everyone is underestimating Spurs and they're going to humble us. They can be shaky, but if they score goals, we can't keep up. They will. I'm sure they will score goals, but we beat them 2-0 at their place.
Mm.
You know, we've got. I don't know. We've got goals in us. We've been solid at the back. I do worry about Kane and Son, but look, we've got to win. We've got to win. I'm not sure about injuries, but we'll look into it. We'll cover that on Thursday or Friday when we do the match preview. Um, Negativity. Can I just say there's been a bit of negativity from our fans at this stage? We must give all our players some love, as confidence is a big thing. I agree, mate. I guess it's just a thing. Like we want it so bad. It's there, and it's been a thing with Villa fans. You know, Villa, but the club over the last few years. You know, when that opportunity presents itself, are we ruthless enough? Are we, you know, kind of big enough to go and get it, to go and grab it? We've got it in our sights. We've got it in our hands. We've got to go and get it. That's what I think Villa fans want to see. Like just that leadership, just those players taking responsibility. And I think if they can see that start, and if we start well against Spurs on Saturday, we really will. The fans will really get behind players. So yeah, hopefully that's what we can see. Um, so just to round off a couple of comments, from what I can see of our 3 opponents left is that to just have to go straight at them. Yeah, 100%. But just don't think we've got enough energy left for 90 minutes. Let's just hope those subs make a difference. Let's just see. So just to finish off, as we're going through, please do get your questions in. We'll finish with some questions as well, and we do want to cover some transfers as well. There's so many rumours going around Villa at the moment, so I know you've got
Yeah.
your list updated, Martin. So we'll go through them as well.
Mm.
But any other questions you want to ask us, but please, before we move on, please hit that like button, guys. Really good numbers watching, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel. We were five away from 1,400. I don't know where we are as it stands. We're 4 away now. We're back to 4 away. So
Back to
yeah, if
4.
you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. And if you want to become a
Smash it.
member,
We want to hit 1400 by the end of this night.
yeah. And if you want to become a member like Duncan, Michael, Rachel, then please hit the link. Hit the link at the top of the chat. It's pinned to the top of the chat, and follow the instructions. And it's just $1.99 a month to become a member of the channel. Transfer rumors. Off you go, mate.
Yeah, so
Who are
seeing
the
things on
latest?
Twitter and all this stuff, but I'll start with the proper tier 1 sources just for everyone to have a little bit of hope if this potential signings might happen. One is this big story that we've all been seeing that with Daisy being up for sale now for Marseille. Apparently it's over. They're not in the plans anymore, as reported by Fabrizio Romano. So pretty reliable source, as we all know. And supposedly they're willing to accept 25 million euro. Now, as we all know, Emery is a massive fan of him and he really wanted him in January and the price tag was 50. Now that's sliced in half because he's up for sale and he probably wasn't playing the last few weeks. And I've noticed that he hasn't really been in the lineup. A lot of the fans have noticed that. So there is this theory with some Villa fans on Twitter, not my theory, just some Villa fans on Twitter, that they reckon it's wrapped up with Gundesi gone to Villa because obviously Emery, number one man, everything else. So that's what's going on there with Gundesi. I don't know what you think, Rich. What do you think on that situation with him?
Yeah. let me just before I give you that, we've had a
Mhm.
new member join, Richard White. Thank you
Hey,
so
welcome,
much,
Richard.
mate. Massive shout out to you. Welcome to the Villa Park Pod family as a Villa Park Pod follower, mate. It's much appreciated. So thank
That
you
means now
so
you
much.
get all the exclusive content to Rich getting a haircut in the barbers.
Nice one, nice one. Thank you so much. Guendouzi, yeah, I think Duncan might have mentioned it on the chat a couple of times on other pods that he kind of thinks it's done, like as he says there. So yeah,
Yeah.
and Weston saying there's a verbal agreement on Guendouzi. So look, it's one of those where maybe they've put it out there that he's for sale. Maybe try and drive up the price a little bit if it hasn't been signed on the dotted line, if it's a verbal agreement. But we will see. But yeah, I think it's probably done. I think there's too much in the tank for it not to be done. We're getting loads of comments on Ferran Torres and Vlahovic would be marquee signings.
Mm.
Gary Howlett says 60 million for that guy at Fulham, that Palinia. No
Yeah, I
thanks.
was just about to get onto that. Apparently, Footballer Insider, a load of
Yeah,
me shite if you want to say.
he's
But
not
they
a tier
said
one.
Villa
He
are
isn't.
willing to pay the asking price of 60 million. Let's be honest here. Villa are not that silly to go and pay 60 million for someone who's only played 1 year in the Premier League. He's been class, don't get me wrong, but Villa are going to go, I'm not paying 60 million for him when I can get Guendouzi there for 25 now. Like, you know what I mean? So that's that link. So that's getting in the water. One player who has been linked, and as soon as we left this pod the last time for the preview, is Kieran Tierney from
Yes.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Now, that's an interesting one because, you know, obviously we've Alex Moreno. We probably need somebody in there to, cover for him. Is Tierney going to want to come in and be a cover, even though he's already a cover for Shinchenko?
Right. Look, I'd love Kieran Tierney. I think he's a really good player. But it's a different. If Dini goes, does Tierney come in and then fight for Moreno on that left back spot? I think you've probably got other areas where we need to strengthen before that left back spot for me.
Mm,
But yeah, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I like Tierney. Palinia, I
yeah,
like him. Good player, really good player. Like physical, that player we
yeah,
probably need in the midfield. But 60 million
that's it.
again. We've got other areas. You could probably
That's
get.
it.
You could probably. It's the Premier League tax, isn't it? You could probably get a player from the French league that does exactly the same as him for 20 million, 15 million.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like we look at Kamara, he was a free. He's probably
yeah.
nearly the exact same player. Uh, One as well, Harvey Barnes. Supposedly now Leicester are rating him at £50 million, and if Leicester go down, if I'm not saying when, if they go
Yeah,
down, that price tag's not getting paid for.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely,
And
mate.
of
But I
yeah,
would like him. I would like him.
I'd like him too. He's very direct. He's very, he loves to run in behind as well. So he's more of a direct winger, something that we're probably missing just that little bit. And one player I just wanted to touch on, it kind of died down the last while, is Lee Kang In.
Yeah.
Because
Gareth
I just
mentioned
posted
him.
this article that he was set and signed and ready. Villa's the next destination to
Mm,
nothing. So,
yeah, yeah. Well,
don't know what's going on there.
Gareth mentioned him on the last show with that Alamane coming in. That he's got very
Mm,
big links to Real Mallorca, and by the way, it's 3-1 to Nottingham Forest now.
Lovely.
Um, Gibbs White's just scored a penalty. But yeah, he's got very good links to Real Mallorca, and he thinks that again, Lee Kangin could be, a sign in that we go to because that director of football will go and get him. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. But Harvey Barnes, yeah, I would like him. But again, he would need some coaching. But look, 12 goals. When you compare it to a Bertrand Traore or a Leon Bailey, you're talking to someone who is
Yeah.
Premier League ready, knows what to do, always caused us massive problems, causes
Mm.
a lot of teams problems. So I would 100% take Harvey Barnes.
Funny how you say he needs coaching, but yet he's doing better than two lads who are getting coaching. you know,
Yeah, well, that's the
but
thing, isn't it? Like that's the thing. You kind of look at like a Leon Bailey and you think maybe he doesn't react as well to that coaching because maybe he needs to play off the cuff. Maybe he's overthinking things. And
mm,
obviously we know that Bertrand Traore is an off the cuff player.
Yeah,
So it's a difficult one, but I think if you could get Harvey Barnes for say 30 million and supplement that with, I think Leon Bailey goes on a loan to buy option, and then you maybe get 7, 8, 9, 10 million for a Bertrand Traore. You're kind of balancing it up a little bit more. So
yeah,
yeah, we'll wait and see. Um,
that's it.
few comments. Rachel says, "I doubt Vlahovic or Torres will come through." Michael says, "Messi."
I'm going to touch on that one, right? I have this written down as simply as a banter one because obviously Martinez put that I'm trying to get all the Argentinians to come to Villa, and loads were just like Messi, 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 Messi,
Yeah,
Messi,
yeah,
Messi,
yeah.
Messi,
I
and I'm
think he's
like,
agreed to go
for
to
start,
Saudi
yeah,
Arabia.
like
Yeah.
for starters, the wage for Messi, forget about it. You literally have to sell Aston Villa if you want him to come.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so,
exactly.
like, not
If
happening.
if we moan
I'm
about
getting that
season
one out
ticket
the way.
prices, yeah, if we're moaning about season ticket prices now, I dread to think what they'd be like if we signed a Lionel Messi.
You may as well sell the mortgage, Rich. You know, but and there's this one that came up. Sorry, go on, read that comment there. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say Villa's still alive. We can get Europe if Man City win the Champions League and FA Cup. We can get in the Conference League. Absolutely.
fair
Confirmation of
enough.
Rich becoming a member. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Gary says, "Who's this Kubo? Never heard of him, and big money too." You mentioned him on the last episode, didn't
I
you?
did. I mentioned him the last one. He plays for Real Sociedad at the moment. He was the lad who was, I think he was 16 that came on for. I think he played for both Real Madrid and Barcelona, and he was dubbed like the next Japanese Messi. And he came to Madrid and ended up having loan stints with Mallorca and different clubs. And I think now he's kind of settled in Sociedad, and he's getting a lot of links to different clubs, not just Aston Villa. So that's all I know about him. Really, I couldn't go into detail of his stats, his goals and assists, and what his runs are and everything else. That's as much as I know. But one player who has come up with the potential links to Aston Villa, and obviously since Almany's come in, the Barcelona links are going nuts. It's just going nuts. But one that did come up is Jules Koundé, the centre half.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if you've seen that one, but I think that one's probably a bit too far stretched. What do you
Right.
think?
Look, it's a difficult one, isn't it, with centre backs? Because again, someone's got to probably go out to then
Mm,
bring one in. And Mings and Konza have been excellent. So and then Carlos is now coming back. Do you go with another big name? Duncan's mentioned there Christensen from Barcelona.
yeah,
Um,
needs one too.
y-
Yeah.
so yes, fair enough. You need four good centre backs, but would that suggest that he's maybe thinking of Konsa to right back? Obviously, put him to right back on Saturday, and then you free up space to bring someone in.
Mm.
Obviously,
Well, he
Callum
is,
Chambers. Callum Chambers is
Emery
still
is
there.
no
Does he
yes.
go?
Well, Emery is known to change a centre back into a right back. He done it with one point.
Mm,
He did it with who did he do it with in Arsenal? I think he did it. I can't remember who he done it with, but he always seems to change that right side of centre half into a right back
mm,
everywhere he's gone. So it wouldn't surprise me if he shifts Cons out a right back.
hmm Yeah, yeah. Loads of comments. Let me just go through them because we've got so many coming in.
Hmm.
Who have we got here? Uh, Guendouzi in would mean Ramsey to the bench, right? Have to worry about his progress a little, especially after this season. I just think it's good for competition. Heard West Ham and Newcastle interested in Guendouzi. Well, they're the usual suspects.
Yeah,
Gary says apparently Guendouzi still has a house in London and West Ham want a Rice replacement. I think he plays in a slightly different position now, if I'm right. But
yeah. Like
anyway,
Rice is more of
yeah,
a natural six, where Guendouzi's more of an eight. Won't be a
yeah, and
direct
he even
replacement.
goes out wide, doesn't he now? So
Yeah,
yeah. I think there's a bit of chat about eighth getting Europe, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Len Adams says, yeah, it doesn't
I
get
think
eighth
I
no matter
think,
what happens. There's like one really ridiculous way that it could happen, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen.
but is it not if uh if Man City or Man United, if they finish in the Champions League spots, if one of them win, and obviously it says Europa League comes the next spot available, which is seventh. Does that not mean conference then goes into eighth?
I'm pretty sure there's so many people on Twitter, but someone better far more qualified than me explained it. And basically, eighth doesn't get it. So if anyone wants to comment in the chat, I'm pretty like I'm
But then
almost
if you win the
nine.
League Cup, it's conference, isn't it? And Man United won that.
Yeah, but I just think it doesn't go to eighth. It goes somewhere else. Like it'll go elsewhere. Like it doesn't go. Like it
So the
won't go to
scenario
a
is
team
there
in
won't
the
be an English
UK.
team in the Conference
Yeah.
League.
Well, the seventh would. I think just seventh gets it. I think there's probably one less team that gets in the Europa League or something.
All right, fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Um,
One player, yeah, go ahead.
so Dika said Nico Williams, Pedro Gonçalves, and Luis Enrique. Paul saying Harvey Barnes.
Hmm.
Weston saying Emery wants Tierney.
Yeah,
Guendouzi can play throughout the midfield, better for squad rotation, improving the squad. Smith Rowe will be good also from Arsenal, says Duncan.
yeah. Emery was the one
Gary,
who gave him his
I shall
chance. Yeah.
come to that question later on that one. Forrester 3-1 up, yeah. Get Tierney and McGinn knows him, yeah, says Willie.
Hmm.
Barnes scored again today and would be a handy signing. Paul says Ward Prowse to Villa. I don't think he's an Emery type player, to be honest.
I
Uh,
still love him though. I'm a big fan of his anyway.
Gary says maybe new director of football has different ideas to who's been linked now. Exactly. That's probably why
Hmm.
there's so many names coming through.
Yeah, like
Um,
literally since the sporting directors come in, I feel like Man United just linked with every player that's out there.
yeah, yeah,
Like I don't know if that's me, but I just feel that's just a weird one.
yeah, yeah. Kubo says Weston is
Yeah,
linked to. Can you see Alvarez from Southampton come to Villa? I think there'd be a couple of players. I'd take that. What's that midfielder's name?
Lavia.
Uh, Lavia. I'd take him definitely,
Yeah, he's a good little
definitely.
player.
Yeah. Um, Duncan says Villa tried to buy Messi back in 2008.
Here, I think everybody tried to buy Messi back in 2008, and I think Liverpool was the one who came closest.
Yeah, yeah. Bobby, big up lads and everyone in the chat. Thank you, mate.
Man, Bobby.
Kubo is quick and it would definitely be good, says Paul. Nick says, not suggesting we're in for him, but I really like that in Cisco from Brighton. What a prospect he is. They've got loads, mate. They've got loads of prospects. Pau Torres and Kunde would be good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Duncan says,
I was just going to
conscious
touch
place to be
on
right back.
Torres, but I'll get to that in a second. Yeah,
Nice one, mate. Nice one. We've got a couple more. Didn't Emery pay 60 million for Pepe at Arsenal? Yes, he did.
he did
I
actually.
believe
Yeah,
Emery is building a squad of players for a season like Man City. Yeah, it'd be good to have a good squad. But that's why it'd be good to get Europe, you see. Gary said, would Spurs want Conference League or would they concentrate on their league form for next year in the Champions League? Possibly so. Paul says, I think Villa will buy two strikers. One is Vlahovic, is top of his list. Why not? Newcastle got Isak. Exactly. Yeah. Well, look, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
hmm.
I prefer actual Premier League experience players over mid-table La Liga prospects. We just got to trust Emery, haven't we? Really.
That's
Sharik
it. He's always
says,
made the team better wherever he's gone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ultimately, we bottled Europe. People don't like to say it, but it's the same scenario as Arsenal. Good season nonetheless. We haven't bottled it quite yet, mate. Let's
Hmm.
just wait till after Saturday. If we get the result on Saturday, I think we've got there.
Yeah,
Sorry, mate. What were you going to say?
yeah. I seen a thing with Pau Torres that apparently don't know how true it is now that there has been contact with Emery to Villarreal about Pau Torres. Now, obviously, he's a big fan of Pau Torres from his days at Villarreal, and that is the strongest link I've probably seen in a while about Pau Torres. So, how true that is, I don't know. Please don't take me word for it. But I feel that if he is going to get Pau Torres, that'd be a huge statement. That'd be the big name signing of the summer because Emery, wherever he's gone, he's always had one household name of a signing. So it'll be an interesting summer, that's for sure. But I think the Pau Torres one would definitely be the one that he would want because I think he's big on wanting a centre half, and obviously there's links out there. But apparently the one that Emery wants is Pau Torres.
Oh, fingers crossed, mate. Looks a good player. Rachel said she'd love him as well.
Mm.
So look, like you say, it's going to be an exciting summer. I feel that he'll still only make 4 or 5 signings. I did want to
Yeah.
circle back to a comment that Paul made about players to leave Let me just see. He said he would want Chambers, Digne, Coutinho, Traore, Bailey, and Olsen to go. Can you kind of agree with that? Is there anyone that you would keep on that list, and also is there anyone else who you would let go?
If it was up to me, I'd keep Coutinho, but I just have this weird feeling you go back to Brazil. So I agree with Paul. I think they'll all go. I can see Keenan Davis leaving. He'll want to move.
He scored today.
Yeah, he scored today. He done well today. I wanted to see. I'd keep Archer. I think he needs to be around the team. Philip Badace, I think he might probably go as well. He'll want to progress a bit.
He's a good
Keep
season, hasn't he?
Yeah. Keep Tim. I can't even pronounce his second name. I'm just calling him Tim.
Eric Bonham.
But yeah, that's the one. I keep him as well. There'd definitely be a lot of dead wood going, that's for sure. And I think that's when I mentioned it the last time, with the squad overhaul. I think that's probably what I meant, the dead wood.
Yeah, yeah. Paul saying he'd let Dendonka go as well. Rachel saying the backup goalkeeper
I
will
wouldn't
be the
sell him now.
hardest. No, I probably wouldn't. I guess it depends who we bring in and what. I don't think many clubs are going to be in for him, so I think he's probably one to keep. Backup goalkeeper would be the hardest position to fill this year, says Rachel.
Yeah.
Weston agrees with you. He'd keep Coutinho. Duncan saying Mendy from Chelsea would be a good second goalkeeper. Definitely.
Would he want to be second choice after being first choice for Chelsea winning the Champions League and got dropped?
Yeah, well, obviously Rachel saying he'd want to be a number one goalkeeper somewhere. So look, it's a tough one. I've tried to think about good second choice goalkeepers. Do you go with a young prospect like an England under-21 or a Spain under-21 or something like that, or do you go with an aging goalkeeper who doesn't mind being a number two? It's a really difficult one. Or if we do get Europe, do you go with a goalkeeper that's going to play in the European games, so he's a little bit more established, but
I
not
don't think
quite
that'll happen. I think Emi
level.
Martinez will want to play in the European games. He wants to test himself,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I say, I agree with you. I think Nakamba probably goes as well.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't like that to happen because I'm always a big fan of him.
Exactly. You're the president
Yeah.
of the
He's
fan club.
marvelous, as what I would say.
Yeah. So there's still a fair few players to leave. And yeah, get money in for as well, which would be good. So we'll see. A corpse in goal. We've already got Olsen. Yeah, no point getting Europe if we don't take it seriously. Absolutely, mate. I do agree. A few starred comments. What we got here? Oh, Michael saying. Actually, let's go with Gary's first. Does Ramsey start next season, or does it halt his progress?
Ooh. I don't know about that one. That's a good question actually, because if the signings come in and they progress, it does halt his progress. But at the same time, does it give him that motivation
He's
to
got
make
to step up,
sure?
hasn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like he's got to step up if these players come in. So it's a good question. The only way that can be answered is in time. That's the only answer I can give. In time, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think he's got to do a bit of work in the summer on his physicality. I
Yeah,
think it'd be one of those. What is he, 21? I think you could see a
21
lot of
now.
I think you could see a lot of growth coming from him in the summer. Like
Mm.
how some players come out of they go into pre-season a certain shape and then they come out of pre-season like they look completely different. And I think if
Yeah.
he gets in the gym and gets on a nutrition plan and a fitness plan, I think you might see a different Jacob Ramsey coming through next season. So that's what I hope anyway. That's what I really hope. And Michael saying, yeah, he's still young, absolutely. Another question from Adam saying, are there any strikers we are linked to that would realistically come?
Lin Kang Yin is probably the only one, but he kind of plays anywhere across the front four. The ones I'm saying that the obscure ones are like, Vlahovic and Torres. They're the obscure ones. So I've not really seen any links to strikers that are
Tammy?
realistically could join Villa.
Tammy?
Tammy. Yeah. But the question is, if we don't get Europe, would Tammy want to join us after
Back in the
playing in European football for a while with Roma?
Yeah,
You
back in the
you
Premier League
know,
though, isn't it? It's back in the Premier
yeah,
League.
it is back in
Uh,
the Premier League. It is back home. It's back to a club where he knows, and he knows he'd be loved. But at the same time, when you're a football player, after getting a bit of taste in European football for like a Roma or any Italian side or anywhere in Europe, you know, would he want to come to a team that's not in Europe if Villa don't get it?
I'm sure we'll have
That's
quite a few players that'll be after him. So clubs, sorry, that'll be after him. But look, it's as Rachel said, the money's too high. He'd want big wages as well. But
yeah,
look, he's got a good relationship with Villa, as Michael says. So we'll see, we'll see. I do want to finish up tonight just by saying another shout out from Michael there. Fantastic win for the
yeah.
Villa women.
5-0 away
Rachel,
from home against
yeah,
Reading.
5-0 away from home against Reading. Hat trick for Rachel Daly. Now she's top of the goal scoring charts with 20 goals this season. I think fourth
Incredible.
position is going to be a little bit too far for them to get, but certainly,
Yeah.
fifth, top of the rest. I guess the question for Villa women's team is, can they hold on to the likes of Rachel Daly and Staniforth and Hansen and Lehman and one or two of the other players and Daly, Kenza Darley? Can they keep hold of those players for next season? Because you know what happens, the big clubs come calling when these players are doing well.
That's it. And it's always been the Villa case. I've seen Rabjohn, one of Kevin's favourite players, going to Man United, and Kevin's like, it's like Dwight York all over again. So it will be hard for Villa to keep a hold of these players, but I think if Villa women, if they bring in the players that build the teams around the likes of the Dailies, the Kens Dalleys, the Hannah Hamptons, they'll they'll want them to stay if they see this improvement of players, higher caliber players coming into the team. So they'll definitely stay if the higher caliber player comes in. If not, bit of a struggle then to keep them.
Exactly, exactly. Few comments coming in about them. Really hope we can keep these players, says Michael. Rachel says, I think Rachel Daly has another 2 years on their deal, but Patton and Hanson we need to keep hold of if possible. 100%, I agree. And Paul said, do you think Villa women will look abroad for players now? Could be, could be. I'm sure
It
there's
could
been
be a good
some
shout because
money
there's
put in
definitely
the
a lot of good
coffers.
players abroad. There is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure.
Man United have done it. Man City have done it. Chelsea have
Yeah,
done it. So there definitely
yeah.
is good players abroad.
Yeah, there's been some backing as well financially, and there'll be some more backing next season. And also, there's been better crowds. So, look, hopefully they can, increase their wage budget by, 20-30% and get some, like you said, Martin, build the team around these players because that's what's going to push them. Because they're probably what 2 or 3 players away from consistently challenging like an Arsenal or a Man City. Like they're always in the games, but they're never quite clinical enough to kind of win the games, are they? That's the problem.
No, and you're right. I think that it was always going to be a far stretch to try and get into that top four with a Man United, a Chelsea, and Arsenal, and Man City with such the financial backing that they get. And the players that they've got is fantastic. And for them to finish fifth, get to an FA Cup semi final, beating Man City along the way, and they even bet Man City in the league too and got a draw with them, won all the leagues. They didn't lose to Man City this year, really, when you look at
No.
it.
Mm.
So they definitely will want to build on that and try break into that top four and try and. I think in the women's league, it's the top three in the women's league that get like the
I
Europe.
think it is now. Yeah, I think it is now because they've done pretty well. So, and they're obviously trying to expand it. So, yeah, mate. Honestly, it's been phenomenal. Like the growth, and I think Gaz has mentioned it there. Who's joining us? Gaza says there. As long as they don't lose the manager, she's one of the best out there. Yes, she's done a fantastic job,
Yeah,
Carla Ward.
I want to
So,
touch on that one just a little bit actually because when I was on the Devils United podcast with Mays, she said if she was going to get anybody from Aston Villa, it would be Carla Ward because she's a big fan of her and they've done such a good job of the team that she's got. And I think when she was at Reading, uh, I can't remember if she said it was Reading or a different team that they got a team promoted, like with barely like 15 players. That just goes to
mm,
show that she's capable of any situation that she's put under. So like, hopefully she keeps that. Sorry. that if Man United are going to get anybody, it's Carla Ward. And I hope that they do keep a hold of Carla Ward, because she's probably that glue to keeping them players together and trying to bring a higher
Well,
caliber
yeah,
players.
exactly. It's one of them where if a manager leaves, they take some players with them. So look, we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to
Yeah,
happen.
exactly.
Look, Martin, great pod. As again, as usual with you, mate. Great pod. And great to have everyone in the chat. Everyone with their comments. I've got to jump off. It's bedtime for my little lad, so he's got school tomorrow. But yeah,
I don't
please,
have
guys.
kids, so I wouldn't know the struggle.
Yeah, exactly. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be back with Talking Tactics later on in the week, hopefully I would say Wednesday, so look out for it on Wednesday. And we'll be back with a match preview later on in the week. And look, there's so many transfer rumours coming out, so much news around Villa. I'm sure we'll be in for a Bodymore bulletin later on in the week as well. So keep your eyes out for plenty of content coming up. As I said before, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help get the boys. Remember, click the link. And as always, thank you for watching. And remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.